Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I take my stand here to support the Constitution Amendment Bill moved by Shri Thomas. I think he has done a service to this House and to this country by drawing the attention of this country to the very important aspect that unless right to work is made a fundamental right in the Constitution and every young man and woman is guaranteed some job, the very basic premise of our Constitution is going to flounder. Our Constitution in the preamble guarantees justice, social, economic, and political. Article 19(1)(a) of the Fundamental Rights guarantees freedom of speech and expression. Article 21 guarantees protection to life, and Article 23 says that there will not be any traffic in human beings and beggary is prohibited. All these fundamental rights and the laudable principles laid down in the preamble can have no effect if millions of unemployed men and women in this country move about in search of job and livelihood. Today, the unemployment register shows that there are millions of unemployed men and women. Even that, I think, is a tip of the iceberg because a large section of our men and women do not register themselves either because facilities are not available or it is not known to them in many rural areas that they have to register themselves, and also because of the indifference that even if they register themselves, they are not going to get the job. I believe the greatest threat that this country is facing in all its aspects is from these unemployed young people. Every young unemployed man and woman, in my view, is a potential bomb. We talk of very high principles of democratic ways and of moral values. But what does it mean to a young man if he cannot sustain himself by 2 square meals a day, if we talk to him that he has to maintain certain values in life, because after all one cannot maintain values with an empty stomach. Therefore, this state owes a duty to the country and to these young men and women that they must be given the minimum security of their life. Article 19(1)(a) guarantees freedom of speech and expression. To whom? Freedom of speech and expression to those who have got sufficient means to exercise that freedom. That freedom is not available to the millions here. After all, a man who does not have even 1 square meal a day, what freedom of speech and expression can he ever hope to aspire? After all, he shall have either to beg, borrow, or steal from somebody to maintain his livelihood. Article 21 gives protection of life and personal liberty. The highest court of this land has given an extensive meaning to the words right to life. But the right to life connotes in my respectful submission that he must have the means to maintain his life. When the state guarantees or when this constitution guarantees right to life to an individual, automatically it follows that there must be a guarantee that he can maintain his life. If we cannot guarantee 2 square meals a day to him, if we cannot guarantee to him the subsistence level, what is the use of having Article 21 in the Constitution saying that you have the right to life? Traffic in human beings and beggary are prevented and prohibited. But what can a man do? Either he shall have to go for illegal means or irregular means, and even for trafficking in human beings or beggary. In Article 39, which deals with the directive principles of state policy, in Part A, it has been said that the citizens, men and women, equally have the right to an adequate means of livelihood. In fact, when the Constitution was framed, a number of very eminent personalities spoke about the inherent rights of man to maintain himself. At that time, it was thought that to make this right justiciable, to give a justiciable right, would probably be a tremendous burden on the state. And the framers of the Constitution at that point of time decided not to introduce it in the fundamental rights. But we know this has been said not only from this side of the house but also from the other side of the house. Mr. Bhardwaj has on a number of occasions said that the directive principles are the conscience of the Constitution. In fact, one can find the real fragrance of the Constitution not in the fundamental rights but in the directive principles. This House and the other House on a number of occasions had to go on for constitutional amendments to give primacy to directive principles over fundamental rights. The framers of the Constitution, when the directive principles were being discussed, made it amply clear that though at that point of time it was not possible to bring in all the laudable provisions made in the directive principles within the scope of the fundamental rights, yet they should be made justiciable.